Welcome back, my fellow aggressive learners. In this episode, we shall be talking about the scale value, all right, for the transform. So let's see how we can introduce scale to these guys, all right. So you can choose to cancel out this, all right, and then okay, I'm going to do transform, and then I do scale. So of course, you can scale to x-axis, you can scale to y-axis, all right, and then you can scale to both x and y-axis at the same time. So in this course, we're just going to take the x and the y, all right. So let's go ahead and do that. So x, and then I'm going to define the value. I'm going to define the value to be what? Let's say one 1.8, 1.9. You can see that. What did I do? Scale increases the size of my value. Let's say I do 6. You can see, right? It increases the value along the x-axis. It increases the size of my value along the x-axis, right? Now, imagine once I go below 1, 1 is still the default value. If I go below 1, 0. Let's say 0.90, you can see it starts shrinking. It starts shrinking. All right. So if I go minus 40, okay, that's on a different note, but I should be doing 0.50. It starts shrinking, right? So these are the few things that the x-axis could do for you, right? It could do all this for you. So I'm going to leave it at 1.3 scale, right? Remember, you would remember that in the previous courses of some of our project, I would put this as hover so that when I hover on them, it would naturally bet change that position, right? When I hover on them, if the original size was this, I can actually do this. I could actually do this, remove the hover from the first one, and then remove scale from the first one, and then increase the scale to, let's say, 919. Watch out what will happen when I carry my button. That's too much, right? Good. Do this to like 1.3. I think is okay. Right? You can see, right? Just to show some animation, some movement and all that. That's the basic thing, right? Good. So let's do the y-axis. So the y-axis will be transform, sorry please, transform, we are scaling. So we are scaling to the y-axis. So what do? We can do, we transform to the same thing is happening 1.5. Now we are doing it along the x-axis. So you can see along the x-axis we are increasing value. You can see, right, we are increasing value 3. You can see, right, along the x-axis we are increasing the size of what, of the property of the element, right? Good. The same thing happens when you do 1, it becomes the original size, and when you do less than 0, you are shrinking the value. Less than 2, you are shrinking the value, right? Good. So now less than, we do 1.3. So we scale to the y. Then the next thing we want to do, we want to show how to what? How to scale to both what? X and what? Y axis at the same time. Scale transform, scale. So we scale to both. So can I feel free to remove this because this is not part of what we're doing, but just to show you what's going on, right? Good. So I can remove them happily, right? Good. So we are scaling to both sides, to both x and y axis, right? Good. So how do we do that? We can do 1.2 scale to the x by 1 point. We're working on the green now. Scale to the x by 1.3 and scale to the y-axis by what? By 2.5. Right? So scale to the x-axis by what? 1.5. You can see, right? So scale to the x-axis by what? 1.8, 1.9. So that is the. Let's assume you're scaling to 1.1 and you're scaling to 1.1 at the same time. So what do you do? What do you do? You don't have to write 2, just write 1. So 1.1, this will represent both the x and the y axis. If you're scaling 2, if it is uniform, the x and y is uniform scaling that you want to do. So you're doing both at the same time, right? Good. So that is how these things work. And remember, like I told you, some of these things you can use them to what? To play around. So you could say, okay, I want to, you copy this, right? For instance, on hover, for instance, I'm just saying on hover, just to show some little bit of animation, or unload even. I want to I want to translate. So I have this background and all that, right? But on hover, I want it to behave this way. Watch. Right? So let me remove this scaling, for instance. On hover, I got this, right? On hover. If I remove my box, it comes to the way it's supposed to be. Right? Good. If I do scale, I want to scale it to what? To 1.3 uniformly on both x and y axis, right? So if I clean this, you can see it's operating on just what? This, right? So that is it on scaling, translate for the transform property. All right. So in case you're yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please go ahead and do that, and I will see you in the next class.